So I have here the Beat Bowwow, which is the dog version of the Beat Bow, popular toy from a few years ago. And they can be found really inexpensively in thrift stores now. This video will just go through how to switch adapt them. Right now it's connected up to a 1/4-inch mini plug through the switch here. It goes into a mini jack that we'll learn how to install and runs the toy. Basically, this is the 1/4-inch switch here, and if I press that switch, you'll hear the response from the toy. And so it's a pretty good toy in the sense that there's a lot of movement and interest in him. He has got lots of bright colors, some music, that kind of thing. And so basically, I have them already pre-adapted here, but I'm going to take you through the process. So I'll take out the jack so you can see the plug that I installed. And so I like to use the little internal plugs when I can, just because it makes it nice and clean and tidy. I'll open them up and you can see inside. So let's see. Turn it on this way. And so I already had the screws out of the bottom there. There's about 5 screws around the perimeter that you take out. You should find them all around here. You take those screws out, and then you may have to use a screwdriver to kind of get an edge in, and then you should be able to pry it open. Once you're inside, you're going to notice a couple of little buttons fall out like this. Just want to make sure that you don't lose this piece here that's inside, because it does come out. It'll be important for later. You can also use an image later when you're putting these back in to make sure that you put them on the right sides. I wanted to adapt the side for music, so I checked online after I did that, dropped them out, and found out that it's this side of the Beat Bow that actually controls the music. And so what the adaptation is here essentially is that I've attached a couple of wires. So I've stripped the wires and I've soldered them onto 2 little ports that activate the switch. You can see that's where the switch usually goes, like this. And it pushes down and that activates it. So we don't want to destroy that switch. So instead of soldering right to the terminal right here, instead I'm going to solder, or I did solder a little bit further out. And so basically what I want to try to do is solder in such a way that when the toy comes down, these wires can come out in this direction so that this switch can still stay in there and activate properly as it did when it was new. So we're not actually replacing a switch here. We're actually just adding in the function to be able to activate it with a different mechanism, which is basically, I'll show here, the little mini, there, the little mini jack like that. So that's a 1/4-inch mini jack. That's an internal one. It's just basically a headphone port that's mono. I connected up to the outer 2 terminals here and here. Because they have little holes in them, you can even just spin the wire around if you can make it really nice and tight to hold on, or just drop a little bit of solder on there at the end just to be really sure. Luckily, once it's inside the toy, it's fairly secure. You'll see there's a little ring on the top here, and the ring basically just holds it in place once it's in. So you'll drill a 1/4-inch hole, and then I usually take the drill and kind of spin it around a little bit until the hole's just a little bit larger, just enough to accommodate the jack. You push it through, and when it shows up on the other side of the toy, you're going to take the little ring and just screw it on. You want to make sure the hole isn't so big that this part would allow it to pass through the toy. I am going to actually do a little soldering demo on this video, which I don't usually do, but it'll show up at the end of how I actually soldered these wires on. And it'll just be a quick little snip of it, basically. But part of the reason I included it is because you can see these little gold spots all along here? They're little spots where you can see the circuit board they have an opening, and that's actually a little bit of copper or something that's exposed. And so there happen to be two little spots right here and right here. You can see how this is one side of the switch here, this is the other side of the switch, and these little discs in here actually conduct a circuit once they cross over these two sides here. You can see how they don't quite touch each other, and then they go down. There's one side of the circuit down there and the other side down here. So all I've done is essentially soldered it onto a place where there's you know, you're having access, I guess, to both sides of that circuit. And what it's doing is it's sending the signal up through these wires into the mini jack. And the mini jack, as you can see again, I've put it on the two outside ports there. All it's really doing is it's deferring, pressing this switch, it's closing this circuit down here, it's deferring it up to here, and then the cord is deferring it all the way out to the big red switch through the mini jack, which is here. And so that's really all there is to it. As I say, the main thing is to make sure that when it's soldered on, we want to maintain the function of the toy. So you want to do it really cleanly, just a couple little pieces there. I'm not a very good solderer, but I managed to get them pretty accurate. And you want to make sure that the cord comes out in this direction once it closes. You'll notice when it comes down, the cord starts to go over this way. So, so that we can still fit that switch back in. When you're ready to put these back in, I usually recommend turning the toy upside down and putting these in, and then placing the top on like a lid. And that's really all there is to it. It's fairly simple. And so what I'm going to do is I'll cut away to a picture of just soldering on the last one of those little pieces there, just so you can kind of see the process, and you can see what the little copper areas look like when they're exposed to, so you understand that you'll see two little copper areas, one underneath that silver bit of solder there, and one under this one here. All right, thanks.